here you are on my podcast today to talk about what everyone is talking about on Instagram, and that is actually why I wanted you on today, mate, because it's starting to do my tits in with the amount of people pulling in the pit. Oh, you're not in my pool. So I've got a lot. So there's a lot of coaches now knowing that hormones are a good money maker, right? There is nothing proven, no evidence that I could say sell you a detox, right? Because you're going through perimenopause that would work. So I'm just getting the money off of you because perimenopause is a confusing time. Middle-aged women are a better target market. They've usually got more money. So there's a lot of sharks out. So I'm trying to get as many people on to talk about their perimenopausal journey because the thing is, everybody's is different. Do you know what I mean? Some people get a dry mouth, some people get a dry vagina, some people get sore joints, some people don't, some people can't sleep, some people are fine. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're Wayne going through puberty now.
I know, and I was laughing at you talking about that the other day on your stories as well. It's upon you with your kids before you know it. Like really, it is literally one day they're a child, and the next day you're like, oh my! Do I need these, by the way? These headphones.
Put them on if you want to.
Put them on.
Let's see what they look like. Can you still hear me? Are they actually connected, Tenton?
No, they are connected. Look, they're connected, but I can't hear you. It's fine like this. Is that okay?
Fine. Aye, it doesn't matter.
So I was just saying, one day they're a child, literally, and the next day that's what you're dealing with. It's just, and that's another thing. So a lot of women who are going through menopause or perimenopause, like myself, are actually also managing and navigating parenting of a hormonal off the scale, either preteen or teen. So that's
the crescendo of it all. Maybe your parents have got older, so you're also taking the role of kind of looking after them. They're starting to go a bit mental. Then you've got your Wayne that's hit puberty, and then you're also hitting your second puberty. And this is where it's like, it goes mental. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted to, because you're good at talking, so I wanted you to come on and like articulate your perimenopausal journey so far. Do you know what I mean? Because I know back you were like experiencing acid reflux and stuff like that. So did your symptoms just start to creep on, or did it hit you?
No, I don't think anybody really wakes up one day and thinks to them, has that conscious thought of, this is me today, perimenopausal, and I wasn't yesterday. Right? Doesn't happen like that, and I haven't came across anybody where that has happened. I spent probably about 3 or 4 years going, I don't know if I am in perimenopause or not. And the thing is, because I'm 50 now, just turned 50, people that know about menopause and perimenopause will know that when you get to my age, there's no test. And I thought this as well, and I did a gynecologist on my podcast this week, so we talked loads about this.
Right, okay,
there
good.
There is no test. Could you imagine every woman having to get tested as to whether they're in perimenopause or not? The system, the NHS,
it would break.
would not cope with that.
But then that's when you've also got the private ones selling it to you. But there's no reason. It's like your Wayne's going through puberty. You're not taking her for a test. You're going like that. She's 13, 14. Of course she probably is.
Exactly. So it would be a complete waste of money unless you're in the premature menopause bracket.
That's when I think it's time to do that.
Yeah. So there is no point sitting there and thinking to yourself, well, I don't know if I should do anything yet because I've not been for any test for anybody to tell me that I am. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to be completely self-aware, and that, I think that's such an important message when it comes to perimenopause and menopause. Nobody is coming to save you or to say to you, right, Mary, that's you. You have reached perimenopause now. You need to start doing things differently to help yourself.
And here's this magic detox at £45.
And it's not, this will fix you. That's the other thing. That is not what the answer is. So only you will know what the answer is. Only you will know when you're in that perimenopause state. And the thing for me, what made it difficult for me, and again, loads of women have said this to me, is that I was already fitted with a Mirena coil to help with horrendous periods, right? So I've always had hormonal issues. And after I had Lola, that's when I got that, and it was amazing for me. It worked for me. Again, that doesn't work for everybody.
No.
So if you've already got a coil and you're getting that renewed every, it's been all over the place actually with COVID, but I think it's officially 5 years. If you're getting that renewed and it's up to date and whatever, that is actually half of HRT anyway. So if you then think to yourself, this is happening to me, that's happening to me, whatever the symptoms are, it's not your period, because a coil generally stops your period. You know, you maybe get a very light period, but usually it stops your period. So that one thing of your period, you've not got now to determine whether you're in perimenopause or not. And obviously that's usually the first thing that any
Yes, it's
medic asks you.
a regular
Aye.
a
So I
change.
then had to think, well, my period's no telling me, because that's no really changed, but then that was never going to change really anyway because of the coil. But the first thing, if you remember, what went with me was my hair. My hair started to
Yes.
thin, but I did not make the connection. So when I was talking about that 3 and 4 years ago and still talk about it, I did not make the connection. That I kept thinking I had COVID like everybody else,
Yeah,
and it
true.
was
The
and it
hair
was a
thinning for
known
COVID.
it was a known side effect that it affected your hair. And I just kept thinking, must be something to do with that. I was getting no other symptoms at that point. I can't see any other reason why this would happen. Like an absolute dafty, did not know. But you don't know what you don't know. And it's
True.
not till you research more and time goes on that you go, oh my God, I've actually been in perimenopause for about 4 years. Because
Yes.
that's when my hair started going during COVID.
And
So
do you
it's
know what as
roughly,
well? That's the issue, mate. It's the crossover of a lot of things that can be happening to you at that age. Like, there you go. You're like, is it COVID? Is it not? Some people who get the mood thing are like, am I depressed? Is this depression? Do I not like my man anymore? There's lots of crossovers going on. And I think that's why
yes.
it's important to have these chats and get the information out there, as opposed to just try to sell folk supplements. Do you know what I
Because
mean?
there isn't, I know, and I cannot stress this enough, there is not one solution to
No.
this problem. The solution is you need to take a look within yourself. You need to be so aware of what's going on with your body, doing your research and willing to try things to help yourself. And so with the hair thing, I take a supplement for that. I've always said this, I've taken it for, I don't know, a good couple of years anyway. And for me, I feel that works. And I use good hair products. I'm at a different hairdresser now because I'm trying to get my hair coloured less and less. Like, I've
Yeah.
just researched good hair health. So that's what I did. So I was happy with that. So that was fine. I kept plodding along with that. And then you remember you and I did the podcast a year past in September, that very first
A
one.
year?
I passed in September, over a year, so that's October, November, was it
Fuck
a year and
off.
4 months? I
Is
know,
that a
that was the
year?
first one.
Fuck me, life is
So,
flying.
I know, so when we did that, that was probably the kick up the arse that I needed to get off the sweeties to really reduce my sugar intake. Now, I already knew, I have looked at sugar loads, like the research that loads in the past for a different reason, but I've done it. And there's so many things, Alzheimer's for one, that sugar is connected to, that people again aren't really aware of unless you research it. It's that whole thing of you don't know what you don't know, but once you
No.
research it, my God, and I keep saying that to people, you've no idea the impact that sugar has on the body. So, and hormones as well, obviously. So I knew all of this, but I just hadn't taken the step to do anything about it. And when we had that podcast, I was feeling quite shite at the time. And I just thought, do you know what? I need to do this. I need to do something to help how I'm feeling right now. I felt bloated, lethargic. I just felt mentally as well, mental health was a bit shit. And I just thought I need to do something to try and help myself. I'm approaching that age now, I was coming up for 49 then. So that was when I took the decision to cut out. I'm not completely sugar free. I
And
always
you
say that.
shouldn't be. You shouldn't
I
be. You
know.
should have
I
a
just,
odd wee thing.
yes. I just massively reduced my sugar intake. So on a daily basis, I will not have, and I haven't had any chocolate bars, nothing like that, sweeties. I don't have them. I've had a bit of birthday cake for my 50th birthday, and I think I might have had another bit of cake at one other time throughout that whole. But I find that I don't even crave it now. I don't even want it. So even when that birthday cake was there, I was like, I better take a bit of this because it's somebody made it for me and it's my
I,
birthday. So I better take a bit.
But
But
see, the
I
thing about
honestly,
it is, man, it's the dosage, the poison's in the dosage. And see what happens
aye,
to us is we start eating
that's right.
hunters, we're eating hunters of shite, and it becomes your diet's 80% shite and 20% all
Aye.
right. When see if it was the
And
other way
that's where
about.
I was. That's where I was, Christine. I told you this. It was off the scale, the amount of shite that I was eating, chocolate especially, and I felt like I was never satisfied. One, two, three bars. Oh, I could be doing with another bar. Do you know what I mean? I actually felt like an addict, and I do
Bit
feel
bingy.
like that. I feel like I'm now living every day, day by day, going, that's another day, and I still haven't had any
Just
chocolate
fucking
or
writing it in the wall and all that. That's the thing
aye.
that is the thing about it. And see as well when you're perimenopausal, sometimes you're using food as a wee bit of a way to change the way you're feeling. So you do eat shite, and then sometimes then the
Aye.
shite starts affecting your sleep more. But perimenopause is going to start affecting your sleep. So it's like one of the tools, and it's just a tool, is to kind of make your diet more focused towards healthy food, but
Yeah,
not
yeah.
cutting it out completely, a wee bit of shit here and there. But that is
I
one of the
know.
tools you can use. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Along
no,
with
absolutely.
HRT, getting enough sleep, doing a bit of
Aye.
exercise, all of these things combined. Do you know what I mean? Not one thing. It does it.
No, no. So, and that's all part of my journey, and that's why I'm telling you all of this. So, the hair thing was major. I did have really sensitive boobs for a spell as well, but when the hair thing was happening, but again, I never made the connection. It's only now and reading up on it that, because I am now completely aware that I am absolutely in perimenopause, and, I'll bring you right up to date. But reading everything now and researching everything has just made me feel completely different about it as well.
Yes.
It's just so important for women to advocate for themselves with this. And I know people don't want to hear that because they want the NHS to do everything for them and they just want to go to the doctor and get prescribed HRT or whatever, not necessarily that, but whatever the solution is, they just want that
They
and
just
for the
want that.
box to be ticked and for everything to be all right. And sadly, for us women, that's not going to happen. You have to self-advocate. You have to do your research. You have to listen to podcasts. You have to listen to people that specialise in it. Whatever coach you do think is, worth listening to. You have to look at yourself. Like, what is happening to me? Sit down and think to yourself, right, what is making me feel different? And then there's the mental health thing. People
Yeah.
talk about that as well.
Uh-huh.
And that's where, right, so I did the hair thing, then it was the sugar thing, which made me feel better as well. And like I am quite an active person. I've done a
You
bit
like
of
your
cold
walks
water,
and all that.
walking, all of that type of thing. I still love all of that. And I felt that I was at a point last year, just before I turned 50, where I couldn't really do much more to make, in terms of lifestyle changes to improve the way that my life was. Right, I eat well, I'd cut out the sugar, I eat lots of good things that are good for perimenopausal women. Again, you can Google all of that, your tuna and avocados and
Yep.
nuts and seeds and everything. And I was taking my supplements and I had my gut health under control because remember, another wee symptom I had was heartburn. You helped me with that, thanks very much. Like all these things I felt under control and I was happy with everything that I was doing because as I said in my podcast, when I was talking about perimenopause at the start of the year, I had to accept that things had to change. If you want, as a woman approaching perimenopause, to still enjoy life, and why should we know? We're only in midlife. We're only 50 or thereabouts. I know the age
100%,
is
man.
different.
It's fucking.
Why?
You should
So
be
you
enjoying
have
your
to
life.
exactly. Who wants to? I mean, I had women in my inbox saying, "I feel like my life is over. Please tell me my life's not over," and that breaks my heart. But then I never had a conversation to find out, like, tell me what you've done. Tell me what you're doing, what's happened, what your story is, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know the whole story, but I did have somebody say that to me, and that absolutely kills me for women. Like, that should not be happening. There is no need for that. Women do not need to suffer.
I'm in the
So,
space, obviously, where I'm getting most of that. And I think as well, women, they're dealing with a loss of themselves as the person having the period. I feel like this happens quite a lot. So see, when you're dealing with a loss, there's a bit of a wee grieving process, isn't there? And a change and a
yeah.
new chapter, you know, and I find that quite a lot where women are feeling like, you know, it's the end of their fertility now, and it feels like a wee loss of themselves instead of embracing something else. Because have you heard of the Everglass effect?
No.
So, see when you're a wee young person and you just kind of have no filter and you just say stuff and you look at the world differently, then when we go into our teens and our 20s, it gets thinner. We start to be a wee bit more closed off. You watch what you're saying, you're more aware of yourself. But see when you come out the other side of the menopause, it opens back up and you have a different mindset and you might feel a wee bit more confident and actually more sure of yourself. So it is a time for celebration as well. It's a chapter in a book. You know what I mean? How shite would the book be if it was all the one fucking chapter? We wouldn't fucking read it, mate. Do you know what I mean?
And it is like, and that's what I would say. Embrace the change. You are going to change. You're not that person you used to be anymore. You're just not.
It's
You
not a bad
can't go
thing.
about. Can't go about life happy-go-lucky, eating what you want, doing what you want, smoking and drinking, hunters. You can't do that anymore. If you want to live a happy life, that's,
Ah,
you can do it if you want. You can do it if you want, but I don't think you'll be happy because of the impact it's now having on your maturing body.
yes.
So when it got to like the end of last year, just before I turned 50, and I shared this in my stories, I don't know if you saw it, insomnia. The biggest, and that's been the biggest thing for me out of everything that I have experienced during the whole perimenopause journey. It got to October, I was 50 on the 8th of November. It got to October, and I can't even tell you the exact time, right? But it was maybe 3 months of night after night after night of very little sleep. And it was like clockwork, Christine. I'd be going to my bed at 10 o'clock. I've always had good nighttime practice. I'm in bed early. I
Off your
put my phone
phone.
aside, usually, not every night, because sometimes things happen and you're speaking to people later, but usually 9 o'clock, my phone goes and I do read a bit of a book. And, you know, my nighttime routine, I've always been like that,
You
quite good.
unwind.
Yeah, and getting up early and whatever. So I'm an early to bed, early riser. And it was like clockwork. I was going to bed at 10 and I was waking up as if my body thought it was morning at 12 o'clock and struggling to get back to sleep. And it used to, I started to annoy myself with it. Like, you know, I was getting annoyed at myself that I couldn't sleep. And every single night, guaranteed, I would see
That's
3
horrible, man.
a.m. 3 a.m. in the morning, and like
Fucking
that was
horrible.
starting. It was driving me.
Like
It was
that.
like
Along with the
driving me
clock.
into a cycle. Sleep deprivation. That right. So
Oh, fuck me.
sleep deprivation. So that was months of that until I finally, and I wasn't even again aware of, but I am now because I've done all my research. I was like, why is this happening to me? What is wrong with me? I don't feel overly anxious. I do suffer with anxiety, but I didn't feel overly anxious for this to be happening as much as it was. I was no stranger to broken sleep because I've lived with anxiety my whole life. This was off the scale. This was nothing like that. This was not like having anxiety. This was my first ever experience of actual insomnia. So then when I finally did go and get an appointment, right, I wasn't in the space of I need to go and get HRT. That I wasn't actually thinking that, but the way that I was feeling, I was refusing nothing, right?
Yes.
But I felt like I got to the point where, and if you Google sleep deprivation, the effects on the body are astronomical.
Terrible.
Astronomical. And I felt like I was questioning if I had depression. I was going, is this actually what depression is? I felt like I was completely removed from my life. So my body was here and I was talking to Keith and Lola or you or whoever, but I felt like I was actually over there observing it. I wasn't actually really in the space that I was physically in. It was the weirdest thing to explain.
How weird is that, by the
And
way? Imagine, and see now you're sharing this and some other women get this, but imagine like back in the day when our moms, nobody spoke about this and stuff and you were just thinking you were going fucking insane.
crazy, crazy. I did. I mean, I was just thinking. Even I remember one time I was with Keith and Lola. I don't know, we're doing some family thing. Let's just say out getting a bite to eat, and they were having a conversation. And I was very much part of it if I wanted to be, but I was sitting there going, why am I even here? I should not be here. I shouldn't be here. I was having those thoughts that like
Unbelievable, man.
I just didn't even belong in my family, and I have never felt like that. So I don't know what made me think I need to go and speak to somebody. In fact, I do know it was a conversation with the lady that does my glasses, Tracy, and she said just go and see about HRT. And I had that feeling that women shouldn't have, but I had it. Like, no, I want to do this. I want to do this without that help. I've come this far. All the things with my lifestyle and the changes that I've made and trying to help myself. I don't want to, no. But what pushed me was how I was mentally feeling. I thought I have to go and say. And even when I went, like I was extremely lucky. I need to say that because the ladies that have been in my inbox that say they can't even get an appointment at their GP again,
Yes,
absolutely
it is an
kills me.
issue.
I hate that. I hate hearing it. All I would say to them is push your receptionist to tell you where you can go for menopause help then, because it is quite big in the NHS and in GP surgeries and that. So whilst your GP might not agree to see you about it, there should be somebody in your practice somewhere doing menopause workshops or willing to see you about it or speak to you or whatever. And in my practice, it's the nurse that's the menopause specialist, and she also prescribes HRT. So when I phoned my doctor, all I said was, when I phoned reception, I want to speak to somebody about HRT. That's all I said. I wasn't going saying I need this. That wasn't what I was doing.
Yeah, I
I
want
was
to
going
find out info.
I wanted to know if this was possibly the route that I had to go down to fix how I was feeling. And so they said, well, that's actually the nurse you would see. And I did that thing off because we've all got this thing about receptionists, right? But all my receptionists are actually also a bit in my age bracket. So
Right, fine
then I
then.
must say that helps. See, if you're seeing somebody
Yes,
that's menopausal themselves, you're at a massive, massive advantage with
because
that.
they're like
So,
that. Fuck, we know we've not slept either.
aye,
We're all
exactly.
crabbit cows here. Know what I mean?
we're all broken with this.
Aye, moan.
So, my nurse, I was doing that thing of bloody well better be the nurse because I'll be raging if I'm getting fobbed off with a nurse here and
2
I
hours
come out and
sleep like that.
I have to make another appointment with the doctor because you fobbed me off to the, I've got all this
Uh huh.
narrative going on, which was bullshit. So I then gets in front of my nurse, Carol, who, now follows me on Instagram, is amazing, absolutely
Oh, good, Carol.
perimenopausal, perimenopausal herself, an Irish woman, and I've said this in my stories as well. And I told her everything, and I just rhymed it off. I had all my information ready. I'd done all my research. I knew what could be perimenopause. I told her everything. I'd been doing lifestyle changes, and I said, so I don't know if HRT is something that I need. And she went, well, I think we'll give it a try. And
You're like
she
that.
gave me it, and I was like, right. Okay. And I said to her, if this doesn't do anything, if I take this for you and I go away and take it and it doesn't do a thing, I'm coming right off it again. She went,
Clap.
she was like she's Irish, like I'm saying, she said, it'll not do nothing.
Oh, I
And,
love it.
I keep
I know your
thinking of that.
daddy.
I keep thinking of that, and I'm like, when I went back to see her, so I did my first like batch of it, and I had to go back to get assessed like all the symptoms. And I said to her, like, you were right. I said, you said it wouldn't do nothing, and you were absolutely right. Within 3 days of the patch, so it's the patch, it's the overall 50 that I'm on, so it goes up in increments, say
Yeah.
25. So there's 25, 50, 75, blah, blah, blah. And she started me off about 50, and that's been within 3 nights. I told her this, I put the patch on the Wednesday night. By the Saturday night, I was sleeping like a baby.
How good is that?
And I tell everybody that within 3 nights. And see now, so there are a few wee side effects as well, like the boobs went really, they're fine now actually, but there was a spell of weeks, so my body was
It's a
adjusting to
hormone
getting
surge. Yeah.
my body was adjusting to getting this back. Something that my body had, but hadn't had it for God knows how
That's
long.
why
It,
sometimes people recommend starting that earlier on
yes,
and not
and the
waiting until you're.
gynecologist, yeah, see if I'd known that, Christine.
I
That's the
know.
thing. You don't know what you don't know, and I get
You
so
don't.
annoyed now that if
And the
I've
thing
known
about,
that.
but what you did as well is you kind of like, I mean, I'm advocating a healthy lifestyle always, but you
Yeah,
can't replace hormones
yeah,
with
yeah.
food. They're not there.
No, that's right.
See, when I get a
And
younger
also,
woman, see if I get a younger bird mate, right, and she's in her early 30s and there's ovulation suppressed for some reason, and we fix her diet and we do the things, and then she can then re-ovulate and that's fine. Use that's a different story. You're still at the fertility age.
no,
Whereas
but
when you are older, your hormones are depleting as they should. So you can't
yeah,
replace it by eating fucking flax
no,
seeds. You can help
no,
your
but
health, but
yes. So Dr. Malini was the gynecologist I had on my podcast this week that's out on Friday. So Dr.
oh, this
Malini
is
said,
great timing. Uh-huh.
I know, well, I'm doing another podcast with somebody else. I
Get
was
you a
telling you this
t-shirt.
about the
Uh-huh.
exact same thing next week. So anyway, Dr. Malini said, because one of the questions that I got, so I invited my followers on Instagram to send in questions and I would ask her as many as I could. So one of the questions I got was, is there anything you can do as a younger woman to prepare yourself and set up yourself to be in a better position for menopause, perimenopause? And the answer is yes. The quicker you adopt a healthier lifestyle, the easier it will be for you when the hormones start to change. Now, that applies to everything, whether your hormones change because you've got another hormonal issue or it's because of perimenopause. The quicker you can adopt a healthier lifestyle, the easier that whole journey will be for you. So she says that herself as well. So this isn't just talk. We're not excluding younger women in this conversation. This is actually a conversation for all women. You
Yes.
know, you need to be looking after yourself and always possible to put yourself in the best position for any hormonal changes.
And that's where it's all went wrong as well for women because see like if a 30-year-old guy went to the doctor with low sex drive, pain having sex, hair thinning, then I'm pretty sure they
Aye,
wouldn't
get
get sent home.
Viagra.
They
Aye,
wouldn't get
straight away.
sent home going, I
Uh-huh.
think you're just a mental bastard. You know, they wouldn't. Now
Aye.
that's a fact. So see the
Yes.
fact that women have
Uh-huh.
been left out, there's a huge
Yeah.
gap, isn't there,
Yeah.
in medicine
Oh,
for women?
massive.
Huge.
And there is, and Dr. Malini, we talked about that as well because it was a question that came in. Sadly, women's hormones is not a priority for the NHS right now. They are
No.
on their knees. I don't know how many times I need to say that. Like, they are not going to prioritise. We need to prioritise us. It's like, fighting for the vote. Like you've got
Yeah.
to fight. You've got to fight
100%.
for your say. You've got to do the groundwork for yourself. You need to advocate for yourself. But going back to what I was saying about, so I went on the HRT and I got the boob sore and it brought on a wee bit of bleeding as well. Very, very light bleeding. But again, my nurse had said to me, you'll get all of that, but after 6 months, that should like level out. So I'm still the very early stages and monitoring everything because I'll need to go back to her. I need to keep a diary. Not because I need to, but because I want to. I want to go with my facts and say this is what happened.
And
You
so
know,
you
what do we
should.
need to do?
It's your health. And
Aye.
so you should. Do you know what I mean?
Because there might even come a point, because like I say, I'm at very early in my journey where that dosage needs to be upped. I don't know, but I'm not at that stage now. I'm getting my sleep and I am so grateful because I could have sat here and said, yeah, I'm suffering from insomnia and it's giving me depression and mental health issues and
Putting weight on
my
you.
body, yeah, my body feels physically crap, I'm eating shite, and that's all because of the menopause, right? In a roundabout way, it is because of the menopause, but that was not the core issue. The core issue was sleep deprivation. So the menopause was causing sleep deprivation, but the knock-on effect from that
Yes. And that's the
was
issue. Yeah.
I was massive. So I wouldn't, all those issues I had for sleep deprivation, I wouldn't blame them on menopause. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like the
There's
sleep
a root,
deprivation. Aye, the
100%, and I
root
get,
cause.
yeah, it's
Aye,
trying
the
people,
root cause
women
is
trying to
that.
work out what came first. So that's what I get a
Aye,
lot of. Because if you're not sleeping, are you going to go to the gym and are you going to be able to make the right choices with your food? So then they start to put weight on, and I'm like that. But is that because of? Could it be you're not sleeping, you're craving sugar? Is it your stress because you can't handle it the same when you're in perimenopause? So it's all these things. It's like that wee domino effect. So people think they're just like waiting to exactly what you've said, wake up and you're in perimenopause. But it's all this subtle, wee
aye,
insidious
we
changes
changes.
that happen that compound over time,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and you're not aware. Well, I wasn't aware of it
Most
at
people
all.
aren't, because women as well have got this thing about getting up and getting on with it. So we tend not to tune into
Aye,
ourselves. We're too busy fucking pairing the socks, getting the wains
aye.
ready. That these symptoms,
Keeping the
we're like,
conveyor belt going. And
aye,
the thing is, and women, that's absolutely it. Women feel like they need to soldier on. They need to get on with it and just keep going. And you don't need to just go on with it. And some doctors will say that to you. I had a girl in my inbox saying she's been into premature menopause in her 30s. And the doctor said if she could just, like, try and put up with it because she's too young to go
listen,
on
that
HRT.
that
Like,
scares me,
oh my
by the way.
God.
That actually is terrifying how overlooked we are. See that girl, Viv, the BPT?
Aye.
Fuck
Oh, don't.
me, by
I
the way.
don't. I
Because
don't.
I went through her full Instagram and I was just looking at her stories for her posts from when all this first started happening. The girl's bleeding. She can't go on overnights. She's having to take changes of clothes with her, and then being told that's something that maybe you just need to
She's
live
a
with.
blood transfusion,
For
apparently. I didn't see that in her stories, but somebody was telling me. It was just that. That is why we have to keep. Well, it's one of the reasons we have to keep talking about this. We have to
100%.
keep advocating for women and teaching women to stick up for themselves. We have to keep doing that because, oh God, it's giving me goosebumps even talking about that
I
because
can't get it out my head.
that, that can, I mean, I could greet about it, talk about it. That is ultimately the fear,
The
what happened there.
It's shocking. And look at her, right? I didn't know her personally, just from the fitness industry, but she was fucking ballsy. She was well about herself. She went to the doctor with notes. I can't imagine her going, okay. She was kept going
No.
back. She was like, that
Aye.
something's wrong. Even the things like she'd swollen lymphs and all this stuff that just got fucking ignored. I was honestly, I can't get her out of my head, and it's one of the reasons actually it spurred me on to get loads of different guests on women, because I thought that girl can't just go away and nothing happens. Do you know what I mean? Because
It
it's
is so,
fucking terrible.
yeah, it is so. See that case with Viv and everybody that I've spoken to about that as well, because I was at her funeral. I did know her. She was on my podcast. I wasn't a close friend or anything. I'm not trying to make out we were best pals, but I did know her. And it just depresses the life out of me that can happen to a woman in this current day and age, it's so depressing, and it is just
So
why we
depressing.
say
She's been
women,
so let down by
massively let
she's
down.
been so let down, and I just think fucking hell. Obviously she was like quite big, but how many people's that happening to? Women getting sent away for the doctors going, oh well, do you know what I mean? It's people like you that's putting out good information, and we're trying to like get women to really see you need to take things into your own hands here, don't you?
And yeah, and sadly as well, people don't want to hear it. I think we've said this before. Like smoking does not help one bit, and I know
No.
how hard that is for people. The drinking as well. We've talked about that. People don't want to hear it,
They don't
because
want it, mate. It's the west of
I,
Scotland, the fucking toughest crowd that could ever be. Do you know what I mean? We're fucking like
I'm
wasps, man.
sorry, but it's one of the things, and
Don't unfollow us. Right.
but it's just something to be aware of. But do you know what I always say as well? Like, even just a teeny wee change, whatever it is, even if it's the sweeties and sugar and whatever, you don't need to do what I've done. You don't need to, cut the chocolate and cakes and biscuits out completely. But see if you even just think, well, I'll just have one treat a week, for example, right? Anything, any small change is better than nothing. Don't
Exactly.
think, I hate being like, because I've seen in the past PTs, for example, no, you, Christine, PTs, for example, saying it's pointless going to the gym just once a week.
Do you know what I mean?
No, right. I get your point.
It's
I
free
get what you're
money.
trying
Would
to
you say
say.
no to free money? It's anything is better than nothing.
I
Fuck
know,
me.
and that's like anything. So that's the example I'm using to make my point is nothing is pointless. Any change that you make, none of it is pointless. And
Exactly.
eventually you can build it up. I mean, it took me, like I say, 3 to 4 years to make the changes that I've made. And I have now accepted, and I keep saying this as well, you need to accept it. You need to accept that your life has to change. If you want to keep enjoying life, you need to change some of
And
the
it's
shit
not
that
a
you're doing.
bad thing. We're so resistant to change, aren't we? But it's not a
Yeah,
bad
I.
thing. Right, another thing I wanted to say to you, because this is when I'm dealing with all my perimenopausal women, and even the women that I've interviewed that are dead clued up in it and all that. For some reason, in perimenopause, past trauma.
I said it. I saw you talking about that, and that totally, like, everything makes sense to me now, right? Everything. See if you go into menopause and you've got anything, and this applies to loads of women because nobody's got a perfect life, right? But if you go into menopause and you've got anything traumatic either going on in your life right now or in the past that you've not dealt with, that you've not worked through, had the therapy, whatever it is, it totally makes sense that you are going to be hit even more so like a bulldozer when that happens. Like, I totally, because I just know myself and the anxiety and everything like that, and I just know that if I had gone through this stage in my life, and I'm a work in progress, I'm dealing with my trauma every day, but I do feel that when I went into the perimenopause, I was at a stage where I had managed it really, really well until that point. And I did have that thought when you shared it. Oh my God, thank God I dealt with all of that, because
Yes.
I'd hate to be trying to deal with that plus this.
Not
And
sleeping.
then if you're in a shit relationship, right, and you're maybe on the fence about leaving, for example, and there's loads of people in that, there's loads of people in abusive relationships. If you're in that scenario and perimenopause hits you, oh, my heart goes out to you. Basically, my
Exactly.
heart goes out to you
So
because
that's what I'm saying, because I know you love all this shit as well. And I'm like, see, when you're fucking in your late 20s, because in your early 20s you want to party, that's fine. Start doing shadow work, self care stuff, learning about yourself, even do a bit of therapy, whatever. But it needs to be done. Even if you think to yourself, it's a bit, I'm not into all that fucking chakras.
yeah.
Doesn't matter what you need to do. But see, by the time you get to perimenopause, you need to set yourself up in a fucking good stead for it, don't you? Like,
Yeah, definitely. Because anything else that's going on in your life, it's going to be magnified a million times.
So
And
weird,
yeah,
just think.
it's just aye, and it's that thing of like the quicker you can get into looking after yourself, whatever it is, the better you're going to be when you have hormonal changes. And there are a lot of women. Again, I've had people speak to me about this who do have to go to therapy when they hit the menopause because it's then
Well,
become unbearable. Like you're just so much more, like I say, aware of it. It's magnified a million times.
but it's
So then you're
okay.
dealing with that therapy, which is fine. It's fine. You need to look after yourself, but it's an awful lot on your plate at
It's an
one time.
awful lot. I agree with you. And even when you do go on HRT, like you said, you had the hormone surge, takes a wee bit to balance that out. So imagine all that on top of a big pile of shite.
Yeah,
You
and
know what
you
I mean?
do. And you do, like, when you're going through all of that, something as simple as the fucking conveyor belt of the washing machine and drying and ironing clothes and whatever, like that was something that really started to,
Yeah,
right,
because
I am going to
looking
fucking
out the window,
pile.
folding
I,
your man's pants like that. Is this my
I,
fucking life? You've had 2 hours sleep.
yeah,
You're
and
fucking can't find a sock that matches the other one for your Wayne. You've had 2 hours fucking sleep. Is this my
I,
fucking life? Aye,
Something,
100%.
yeah, something as simple as the washing, right? And I say that because I hate even saying that because I hate and despise the conveyor belt
It's
that is the washing
shite.
in my
That's
house.
how.
But that even goes to another level. Like you're actually ready to do terrible things because you're sick of the sight of dirty washing. It's just. Oh, I don't know. It's just know what you really want in your life. You
No.
want to be on top of all these issues, both internally and externally, as quickly as you can. As I keep saying, to have the best second half of your life.
You need the tools, don't you? And HRT is a tool. It's not going to
Aye,
fix
there's
everything. If you're
only
like
one.
that. It's like
Yeah,
the
and
people in the
it's
fucking ice baths like that. Just going in my fucking ice bath. I fucking get
you've
out.
got you've got a life, Sandra.
Get
If you get a life,
in their
you get.
fucking wheelie bin like that. Just doing an ice bucket. Get out that
Oh
fucking
God,
bucket.
imagine if you saw somebody doing that. That would actually be hilarious, but it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be.
Would
But
it be surprising?
yes.
No.
So whilst obviously I'm advocating for HRT, I'm also advocating that it's only a tiny wee part of the solution. It's not, and I can't stress that enough either because I think lots of women think that you just hit perimenopause and you go and get the HRT and job's a good one, and
No,
it's
and it's
not the
not.
case.
It doesn't work for
No.
everybody either. I'm
Uh,
getting a woman on
and
next in a couple of weeks. It didn't work for her. She had it.
exactly, there's
Didn't
that as
work for
well.
her.
That's right.
Just
And
didn't
there is
agree
a
with her.
little. Yep, and it's really important to say that because this isn't all about HRT. There is a huge emphasis with any medic that you do get to see that this isn't suitable for everybody, and all the other things that you need to do in terms of lifestyle changes are just as massive as HRT is. So, whilst we want to debunk the myths surrounding
Yeah.
HRT, it's also important to say that it's not a solution on its own, and some people can't even take it at all.
But I'm so glad that you've got your women like Carol that's clued up, but she's also saying, yeah, you need to do the lifestyle things as well,
Uh,
instead of just
well,
being
the
like
thing
that.
was,
Do
see
you
if
know what I
I
mean?
hadn't, see if I hadn't went into her with my list of everything that I had done. I already had the whole lifestyle thing, because I was almost like going, if there's anything else that you can tell me that I can do, I will do it, but there wasn't, there just wasn't,
That's the
because I've
thing.
done my research, I knew, but that was a massive thing. She would not, I don't think, and quite rightly so, she would have given me HRT if I hadn't been doing all the other things as well. Because really, all the HRT should be doing is just giving you that, complementing it, just giving you that tiny wee
Exactly.
bit extra to even you out that you need because you're doing all the good stuff already.
And how are you feeling now at this point in
Oh,
your journey? You're
a
sleeping.
million, a million times. That's all I care about. I'm like, there's nothing, even the bleeding, the sore boobs that's come with taking the HRT, I'm like, it would need to be something off the scale for me to go, oh no, I need to stop taking that. I just don't want to. I never want to go back to that feeling
Just
that
lying
I
next
had
to your man
under
when he's
sleep.
sleeping like that.
Uh-huh. I never, and just his breath, breathing
You enjoying that
was
dream?
like,
You know what I mean?
do you have a good sleep last night? And I was saying that to him. Like, and if he got up and said to me, I never had a great sleep last night,
You're like
I
that.
was like, you fucking
You
joking
did
me?
because I watched you for 5
Sorry.
hours. You know what I
I,
mean?
I watched you breathing in and out for
No.
5 million times.
No, man.
So there is nothing now that, like, I just think I'm not coming off it. There's nothing that will make me come off that because I don't want to go back to how I felt. So, and there is no time limit as to how long you can be on it. So you don't need to be worrying
That's the
about.
new guidelines,
Aye,
isn't it? I mean, it was back in
aye.
the day you had to come off it at what, 65 or something like that, but now they're kind of saying you can stay on it for as long as possible.
Yeah, as long as you want to. But I think, I mean, again, that's
What does your
another.
woman say about that? Does she say,
She's the same. She doesn't. Well, she was on HRT as well, and she said to me, I don't think she said this in the recording. She maybe did, but she said to me, "I never want to come off it," and that's how. See if it works for you, Christine, right? And you're doing all the right
100%?
stuff. That's how it makes you feel. You're just like, I don't even want to think about what my life might go back to if I come off this. But I was just going to say, I follow another lady who had been on, it's all personal choice and it's all down to you, and she'd been on it for say 10 years, and she thought, I think that's me through everything. She was in her 60s, and she thought, I'm just going to come off this now. And she went right back to
Yeah.
how she was pre-HRT. But the thing is, right, and again, that sounds all scary and as if, you're trying to put the fear of God into somebody for coming off it. That's not the case, right? See, I'd probably say you're maybe better weaning yourself off it rather than just coming completely off it. But
That is what you're meant to do, like go
yes,
slowly
but
down a
see,
gradient.
yes, but see, even if you do come off it because you want to do that for whatever reason, there's nothing wrong with going back on it. Like, you can
No.
do that. If you do want to try, if you're sceptical, but you do want to try it for 12 weeks, 12 weeks is the recommended trial time. Anything less than that, they say you're not really giving it a chance. So 12 weeks, 3 months, give it a chance. If it doesn't work for you, or if it sends you off your head, by the way, that happens as well.
Yeah.
Consent people do that.
It can give them hot
Come off
flushes.
it.
That's the thing.
And that's another thing, glad you mentioned that. Just come off it again. You can do that with it. It is safe to do that. Like, that's not going to put your life at risk or anything
Yes,
like
it's
that.
not the same as it used to be. It's moved
No,
on.
it's not.
And that's the
Yes, it
difference,
has.
do you know what I mean? Huge
Yeah.
cancer scares and all that back when my mum was first taking it and everybody was just potting it. Then it went, oh God, this is bad. Then everybody kind of was scared of HRT, and now it's come back round as, no, this is a good treatment for women to live a good life.
Yes, and the risks of not taking it with osteoporosis and things like that are higher. The risks for
It's
that
heart
are
disease,
higher
yeah.
than any risk taking HRT, heart disease as well. And you mentioned hot flushes there, and it's worth like talking about that. I've not had a single hot flush.
So there you go.
So we need to be talking about all the other, 100 symptoms, because hot flushes, my whole lifetime, that's what I thought menopause was.
Yep.
Hot flushes, because people talked about that to death, and it's so much more than that. And for me personally, I never even had that.
A
I've not
lot,
even
yeah. Some
I
women
mean, I
get
might,
chronic hot
still.
flushes where they get it
Yeah.
like, it's like 16 to like over that amount of times a day. And again, HRT sometimes doesn't fix that. It can actually exacerbate that. It's still quite an unstudied area. That's why I also don't like people selling stuff to birds, because they don't know themselves. But see, the thing that does work for hot flushes is hypnotherapy. So that's one of the things.
That was something I read about all that. Well, I've done hypnotherapy anyway, but I've not done it. Well, I don't get hot flushes, but I've not done it for hot flushes. But hypnotherapy is a therapy that I have
Interesting
used in
though.
the past. Aye. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
But there's another tool for women they probably don't know of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking mad.
Absolutely everything is worth considering, in my opinion. It's just, women are still scared of all the options though, as well. And it's
I
just,
know.
we need to keep talking about it. We need to keep educating people. Just what I've said already. It's so
But what
important.
we're doing, man, you're talking about it, I'm talking about it. We're just getting it out there. But maybe we could make up a supplement, we could sell it, and I'll be like, look at her now, she sleeps. I'm only kidding. That's the thing, I wouldn't do it. Imagine the money I could make.
No, I couldn't. No, I couldn't do it.
You
Even,
couldn't do it,
like,
man.
I do see a lot of things online, and like
It's
I am
rough.
heavy eye rolling at it. And I got a question for Dr. Malini on HRT, because there's this whole thing about tailored HRT to your body, and as opposed to artificial HRT. And if you watch it, you'll see it. She will say that's a rip-off. That's
It
a gimmick,
is, but they're
because
making mega
you
money.
can't. Yep, you can't tailor HRT to somebody's blood or system or whatever when they're in perimenopause, because how do you know
It's changing
what
too
level?
fast.
But how do you know what level they had? You don't
You
know.
don't.
Everybody's estrogen.
This is
So
it.
it's an
You
absolute.
don't
It's a
fucking know.
con.
That's a
Aye,
con, right? The blood
aye,
testing to see if you're in perimenopause is
yeah.
detoxes, hormone balancing diets, all it is, but it's big. It's big the now,
Oh
isn't it?
no, because
It's big
women are
money.
desperate. Yeah,
Women
because
are desperate.
it's being created because we don't have any other. We're having to self-advocate. We're having to do our own research. So it stands to reason that there'd be a massive market out there to prey on vulnerable women, because that's
And
what we
that's
are.
what we need to
So,
stop, by the way, because it's fucking shocking. Do you know what I mean? And you said it, you would have done anything to sleep. So you
yeah,
imagine you're just scrolling on Instagram and somebody's like, I'm going to sell you this diet and this sleeping. You would take it because you're fucking
aye,
desperate. You're vulnerable. You'll fucking do anything. And that's what we need to stop. We need to get people out there like, see your woman Carol, that's an actual fucking specialist in it, and not
aye.
somebody that's just a fucking PT
Well,
that
that
had
was
it. You know what I mean?
so. I know. So that was why, like, so I did my own podcast, just me talking about
That's an
my
experience for
experience.
you though,
That's
which is what we
I
need.
Right. I did that at the start of January, and I thought, like, that's fine, me sharing my experience, and we need women doing that. But based on the questions that I then got in the back of that, I thought we actually need a qualified professional in
Yes,
HR, hormone, menopause,
that's
a
the
medic.
difference. Yes,
So that was why I thought, right, do you know what? I'm going to see. I took it eventually. Jill Baird, it's her the gynecologist that works at Cosmedicare,
brilliant.
does the clinic there. I never even thought of Jill because I didn't know they were doing that. But anyway,
Actually, Jill
um,
told me, so I didn't know this, but Jill has told me that she would, but she's busy, I'm busy. So this is the woman then. Brilliant.
Dr. Malini,
Because you
she's
need somebody like that. Because listen, mate, I get
aye.
the questions as well and I talk about it, but I'm talking about it from experience of training women, lifestyle. I am not an HRT expert. I can't tell
No,
you the dosage.
but you are, that's right, but you are still part of the solution because you're
Yes.
the lifestyle
Aha.
part. So that's why, like, all these wee bits that you need to
The
take
tools
from
that you need,
everywhere,
yes.
is what you need available to you. But what was I going to tell you there? What were we talking about? I was going to
You
tell
were
you something.
saying, it's another wee symptom there, isn't it? You were saying that people were asking you probably medical questions and you thought to
So
yourself,
that was why I thought I need to I want to have this on my, on my pack of solutions, right? I need
yes,
that as well. So I've done 2 podcasts with you. I've done my own podcast. I also need to be able to say to people when they come to me, well, go and listen to Dr. Malini. Here's the link for
100%.
it. Go and
Yeah.
listen to that as well. So you're not taking it from me that's no qualified in anything other than lived
Your experience,
right?
yes. Which is a different
You've got
story.
your you've got your bit, you're qualified in the whole lifestyle thing, right? And here's the lady who is professionally,
Yes.
medically qualified to also
Trained.
say it. To also say it. So it's
So
like
that
you
is what you
can't.
need.
So and I just feel it puts you, me personally, it puts me in a position of, right, you're not willing to listen to me, you're not willing to listen to Christine, here's the woman you should be listening to then. Do you know what I mean?
We've got options.
No, that I'm saying people say that. I'm not saying that at all, but I just feel it's good to get it from everybody's perspective.
100%. And
And
even,
then you
I'll
educate
even,
yourself.
I even want to
And
get a chat with that woman that you, Carol. I'm like that. I could get
Aye.
a wee chat with her because
Well,
just to give me a backup, basically. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So that there is somebody
Aye.
that I can go, no, go and talk to her.
So,
Do you know what I mean?
Carol is the nurse. She's a sister prescribing nurse because she prescribes the HRT. What was I going to say about that?
So is she the Cosmedicare? Or is that somebody
No,
different? So
Dr. Malini is the Cosmedicare.
I need her
She
then.
is on. See if you go onto the Cosmedicare page. I mean, I'll be sharing this on Friday, right?
I'll find Jill again
whatever.
and I'll do it in a few
See-
months. Give her a break.
See if you go on, she's a lovely, lovely woman, brilliant. I
need
really,
that.
really liked her. If you go onto the Cosmedicare page, though, there is a couple of posts about the gynecology services that they're offering, and Dr. Malini is on one of the posts. There's a picture there, I'm sure. You'll see it. You'll see what Jill's offering and what's there and
Brilliant.
whatever. And you just phone if you need to go private. And sadly, that's a lot of women are at that stage where they just need to
Sadly.
go and get some private help.
But you need to do what you need to do, isn't it?
Aye. She's there, so you can have a look at that.
I'm going to have a look at that actually because that's a belter. Right, but anyway, I'm going to let you go because as I knew, you're like my Stacey, fucking chat the legs off the donkeys, man, innit?
I know, but we've covered loads. Thanks
I
for
think
having
it's
me.
been so helpful. Thank you for coming because I know you're a busy lady, do you know what I mean? So thank you and doing well anyway, mate. When I see your stuff, I'm like,
very much.
she's fucking smashing it, man. Do you know what I mean? And then I'll come back. I want to come back on I want to get back in your car at some
I
point.
will need to. Aye, well, that'll happen. We'll need
We'll
to
get
think
something
about what
organised.
we're going to talk about next. Aye.
Probably this theme's a good one, innit? And then we'll come up with that
Aye.
supplement.
The whole. Let's see what feedback we get for this and what people specifically want.
Give us
to hear
feedback,
more chat.
everyone. Yeah, that would be good.
Yes.
And then we can come and we can think we could do like a fucking loose women type it. Nah. I've got enough headaches, man. I live with Stacey. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.